This is LA's first.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome to the Dr. Aaron Show. We're all about manifestation, transformation, and breakthroughs. It's time to claim your birthright of prosperity, vitality, and love. So grab your tea or coffee because together we're awakening the world. May you live your truth. What if I told you that whatever you give to life, it has to be given back to you tenfold? And the equal and opposite is true as well. What if I told you that whatever you take from life has to be taken from you tenfold? Well, you don't want to miss today's podcast because we're talking about universal law of tithing and an axiom and law of the universe that will have you multiplying exponentially all of your abundance, all your prosperity, all of your love, and all of your vitality. Welcome to the Dr. Aaron podcast. We come together to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and align with universal law. We truly believe that when somebody spiritually awakens, they have a gift and a message to bring to the world, and together we're awakening the world. So let's talk about this. We are on a series of universal laws. Today is Universal Law of Tithing, 44 of 52 series. And let me tell you, somebody who is not raised religious and began to seek truth and going into churches, I really had a hard time with the concept of tithing. So let's break this on down, because as I dove into it, as I began to research and read upon it, I understood the law of tithing. So I'll never forget, I was in a spiritual center that I ended up working in and training in for years and years and years. And I loved the services. They were so inspirational. They came from truth that wasn't dogmatic. It was universal laws and metaphysics and science of mind and unity and all the great things that I love so much. The same work that Louise Hay had been trained in. Agape teaches all of it. But at the end of the service, they would literally pass around a little basket, and people would put money, checks, and things in it. And I used to cringe. It was like, oh, this just doesn't feel right. And it just, I didn't have a problem paying for courses. I had no problem with that exchange, but the concept of giving 10% of my income never felt right. And so today I want to talk to you about my real understanding of tithing, and you can take it away and take away from this what you believe about tithing and what works for you. Okay. So as I began to go research into it, because anything that I resist in life is the indicator that is time for me to understand it. Okay. And I began to research things in the Bible. What does it say about tithing in the Bible? Right. So in tithes established for the Levites, it says that the Levites, I have given every tithe in Israel for inheritance, and in return for the service that they do, their service in the tent of meeting. Okay. It also says, moreover, you shall speak and say to the Levites, when you take from the people of Israel the tithe that I have given you from them for your inheritance, and you shall present a contribution from it to the Lord, a tithe of the tithe. Okay. So bottom line is that it doesn't really say specifics about tithing in the Bible. Let's face the fact that this is the deal. The law of tithing, this law is based on the axiom that what you give to your spiritual advancement through time, treasure, and talent is returned by the universe tenfold. It is based in the principle that 10% of your income, 10% of your efforts and energy is reserved for the loyalty to the whole. This testament is a spiritual principle of faith and action and taking full responsibility for the collective. Spend 10% of your time with Source, spend 10% of your efforts in the expanding of the highest good. And if we all did this universal law and lived this principle, our world would be much better. So what does this mean exactly? Tithing, it means 10th, right? 10th is what that word is based on. And this is the axiom of life, is that whatever we give to, it is returned multiplied exponentially, but by 10% at least, right? So imagine that everything that you give to life has to be reflected back 10 times over, right? That's the art of compounding, leverage, all the above, right? Tithing 10%. So just imagine for a moment that you actually spent 10% of your day, which is actually what Most of the spiritual masters do at least, they do 2.5 hours of a sadhana in the morning at usually 4 a.m. in the morning, and they spend 10% of their time communing. 10% of their time, that's hilarious. 10% of their time communing with source, with their higher self, with the divine. And imagine what that does for their life. Imagine exponentially, way more than 10% does it give back exponentially to expand their perception, to having them be able to innovate, to having them have peace, love, vitality, all the above. So imagine if you gave 10% of your day to spend in source. Wow, what would happen? What would happen? The next thing is, what if you gave 10% of your time, talent, and treasure to your community, to your spiritual advancement and your community for the highest good? Imagine if all the billionaires on the planet gave 10% of their money to helping people that are in need, helping educate them and get them fed and get them clothes and get them, their lives up level. Imagine, what would it be like? What would this world be like if we all tithed? And this is where universal laws are imperative for us to understand how life could work better, how we could create heaven on earth. And if you understand universal law and you understand how your subconscious mind is one with it, and how the subjective divine mind and all of life is one with universal law, we would understand how to make a world that worked. And this is why I am so committed to this work, because it really sets us free. That if we understood this and we applied it and we lived it, not just knowing the truth, but living the truth, what would our life be like? And so I recognize in this that there's a part of us that the universe knows that it will deliver to you tenfold what you give to the advancement of your spiritual awakening and journey. The universe will deliver to you tenfold what you give to your spiritual advancement and journey. Just try that on for a minute. So many people say, I don't have time to meditate. What do you mean you have time? If you meditate, it frees up time because it clears out all the BS in your life. It clears out all the to-do lists. It doesn't matter. You can't afford to not do your spiritual practice. You can't not find the time to do it because it will free up your time. Your soul desires for you to invest in the expanding of your consciousness. Everything in life that you don't like, all the resistance, all the circumstances that are awful, is life demanding you to spend time with yourself, to go within, to commune with the beloved divine. I know that signing up for classes, expanding consciousness, investing in your consciousness is the greatest thing you can do for yourself. That I understand that attending wellness retreats or tithing to your spiritual center or investing in your consciousness is the most important thing that you can do. And I understand that we're all stingy sometimes. I get stingy sometimes. I get in scarcity mindset sometimes, of course. It's not about just not, being conscious about where you're spending your money. It's about spending it on the right things that align with your heart, that align with the principles that you live by. And so I know that you are prosperity, you are abundantly, and as you give, that's the funny thing, right? It's a currency. Money is a currency. And if you hold it and hoard it, sure, people can be millionaires and be miserable. People who truly flow and give to the things that they really care about, to investing in their businesses that make a difference, conscious business, to investing in growing in coaches and consciously expanding, investing in spiritual retreats, investing in their time and consciousness, time, talent, or treasure, okay? If you have a hard time or you don't make a lot of money exchange, you may have a lot of gifts and you can volunteer, you can give your time, you can give talent. Maybe you're really good at finances, or maybe you're really good at design, or maybe you're really good at whatever, and you can give those talents to the highest good. I invite you to tithe. Doesn't mean you have to give 10% of your income. I don't believe in that. I believe that is when, if say a spiritual community or something's open all the time. And, the problem for me I had was that I was in a spiritual center that they only opened, they had a service that's 1 hour on Sunday and some classes one day of the week I'm not going to give 10% of my income to that. It doesn't work for me. Okay. If it's a spiritual center and I'm able to have, what we do, which is we have support calls all week long. We have social events. We have retreats. We have all kinds of things. And yes, it makes sense to give a portion of whatever, right? And we don't even ask for tithing. Okay. But what I'm saying is that you need to make right in your own heart. Where do you want to give? Where do you want to tithe? Where do you want to give your time, talent, and treasure? And where is it going to be reflected back 10 times and then exponentially? And so, yes, the universal law of tithing is correct in that whatever you give to your spiritual advancement and to your spiritual community has to be returned tenfold. It has to. It's law. And so I simply know this truth in my heart and mind, and I invite you to go into prayer and go into your consideration and your heart to say, where do I want to give? Where do I want to give my time, talent, and treasure to my spiritual advancement in my spiritual practice and in my spiritual community? I simply say yes, I say yes, I say yes. May it rain on you all abundance, all prosperity, reflecting back exponentially, and then recognizing also wherever you take, wherever you cause harm, wherever you do all that, it will be reflected back 10 times as well. It is law. And so be careful. And as the Bible says, fear thy Lord, it really means in a metaphysical aspect, fear thy law. Because the only thing to fear is fear itself. And if you take and you give fear and that's what you're giving to world, you will get back fear. You will get back people taking things from you. It has to be reflected back with such precision. And so I simply know I choose to give love. I choose to give my time to my spiritual practice to be with the beloved. I choose to give my career, my life, my business to building spiritual community. It is the most important thing in my life. And so I simply know it is done, 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 as together we say, and so it is. Okay, you guys have a beautiful day. May you live your truth. And if you're somebody who desires to invest in your consciousness, to invest in developing your soul-based business, to invest in becoming a spiritual coach or a spiritual practitioner or a metaphysical minister or doctor of divinity, you can choose to invest and tithe with us, right? And we do an exchange instead of just giving. We have, actual courses, actual programs, all the above. I simply know we have some of the best programs in the world, as far as I'm concerned, okay? Based and in alignment with New Thought Movement and Emerson Theological and all the above, okay? Have a beautiful day and may you live your truth. You can find me across social media as DrErin.tv, DrErin.tv is my handle on Instagram and Facebook. You can also go to soulciety.com, which is SOULCIETE.com, and you will hear the ending as well. Have a beautiful day and may you live your truth. Thank you for tuning in to Soulciety and Dr. Erin podcast. If you've had a calling to be a spiritual leader or coach, you can go to soulciety.com and check out our free training. If you've received value here, I would love it if you take a moment and give a 5-star review. In exchange, I have a ton of free gifts for you. Grab your free awakening book, 40 guided meditations, and digital manifesting masterclass. I also have a free money meditation and worksheet for you so you can begin to break through your scarcity mindset and claim your birthright of prosperity. You can get all of your gifts and learn about our upcoming transformational events in my bio link in both Instagram and Facebook. That's under DrErin.tv, which is DrErin.tv. Also, I'd love to invite you into our free private community on Facebook under groups called Soulciety. That is facebook.com/groups/Soulciety. That's SOULCIETE. Have a divine day and may you live your truth.